one of the most successful interventions for behavioral change in psychotherapy. And so I really wanted to talk about like how that's done. And I definitely do this with almost all my clients. Let's see. So this is just like a ChatGPT definition. I'll just let you read it, but I'll go over this part. The gist of it is that thoughts create feelings. Okay, so we have a thought, it makes us have a feeling. It doesn't matter what thought, it gives us a feeling for sure. And then that feeling, lives somewhere in our body. We have some sort of physical reaction to that feeling. And then the next behavior that we have is typically, unless we are very, very insightful and make sure that our behavior is something different than that. If we don't think about it too much, our next behavior is going to be pretty typically a creation from that feeling. It's going to make us behave a certain way, and then of course that behavior is going to create another type of thought that is going to be pretty cyclical here. And a lot of times those behaviors are kind of detrimental in our lives. So people will come into my office saying, I have some sort of behavior that I really want to get rid of. It's really hurting my relationship either with myself or with somebody else that I love. And so I'm here to help me change those behaviors. So we try to start at the source, which is going to be thoughts. And so I work with all these diagnoses, or not diagnoses, but anxiety. I'm going to go back over this later because I want to make sure I have time. So thoughts make feelings, make behavior. All right, great. And so I'm going to detail the experience of my fear of public speaking. And so we're going to do this in real time, y'all, okay? So I actually get a chart out that is exactly this chart, and I bring it to my client. I have them fill out what is going on in their lives. And so any type of trigger, so let's say public speaking is my trigger. So I'm gonna have certain thoughts that come up when I have that trigger, right? And let's say every single time that I have a public speaking event, I'm gonna have the same, or very, very typical thoughts. I'm not good enough, somebody's yawning, so that must mean I'm boring. This person left early, so that means that I did a really shitty job. I said too much, I'm fidgety, people aren't gonna refer me, my kids are gonna starve, and my business is gonna fail. Okay, so these types of thoughts happen. Okay, so then I go over what each of those thoughts creates in a feeling. So my kids are going to starve and my business is going to fail. I'm going to have panic. I'm going to have hopelessness. And there's going to be a lot of shame thoughts, or thoughts that make shame. Okay, so each of those feelings, what does it feel like in my body? Okay, so I'm gonna, any sort of like big anxiety, like I gotta get the hell out of here. I'm gonna have feelings in my legs. My mouth will probably get dry. My eyes will get dry. My heart will like palpitate. I will, and so all of those added up are gonna add to behaviors that make me say more, that make me more fidgety, that make me right? And so that is going to be these behaviors are going to be perpetuating the trigger. And so it's going to be a cyclical thing. That's what we showed you in the first slide. And so then what we do is we go over the thoughts. So every one of you has a list of cognitive distortions that I gave you. It's massive. You don't have to learn it and know it, but just look how many there are. You're going to be able to relate to all of them. And every single one of the thoughts that I can come up with in this trigger are 99.9% of them are going to be able to be labeled as a cognitive distortion, or 3. And so, that's what we do. So we go over things like, okay, catastrophizing, believing that everything's going to go horribly wrong. If I make a mistake, it'll ruin my career. I'm going to mess up. So I have gone over some of these, but these are just some, and some of the main ones that I would personally and do, and right now am having thoughts. Okay, so cognitive distortions, mind reading, assuming that I know what the audience is thinking. Oh, he totally hates me. I know it. Everyone's thinking I'm boring. They can tell I'm nervous, and therefore they're going to think that I'm unqualified. Black and white situation. There is exaggerating the importance of any small error. I messed up. I said too much, and now my business is going to fail. But notice that if I say that, and I say, oh, my business is gonna fail. It's also a prediction. It's also mind reading. It's multiple cognitive distortions in one thought. So it's really helpful to go back to the list and label them. And I'll tell you why. So this one is my favorite. Oh, fortune telling, predicting. We do that way too much. And the should statements. We call it in the business, stop shoulding all over the place, okay? And so because should is something that brings people into therapy. That word messes you up. I, as a therapist, should be a better communicator, right? And so what we do is we now have this entire thing, and now the person has gone over the list of cognitive distortions at a nauseam level and knows their normal patterns. And so we rewrite. We say, what is the truth? Okay, we have debunked all of this shit. This is shit that we're thinking. Our brain is messing up our lives. These thoughts are not true, but we've debunked them. So now they have less merit, they have less impact, and because the next time they come up, the next time that I do a public speech, I am going to hear those thoughts, and I'm going to go, yeah, but I already debunked them. They're false. They're not true. And so they have less impact. So then my feelings go from panic to slightly nervous. That's a different feeling altogether, and that results in a totally different behavior, a totally different speech, a better speech. And so that helps our scenarios in our lives. Let's rewrite that now that we've debunked all of these thoughts. Let's rewrite what the truth is. The truth is that I want to do well today. That's undeniable. We can't now, that's not a cognitive distortion. That's the truth. And that is way easier managed, right? This is important to me. I care what this group thinks of me. My job is very important to me. Those things are undeniable. That's the truth. And so those make totally different feelings, totally different behaviors, and a way better speech, right? And so this can go with any scenario in your life, and it improves life so much. And there are lots of actually different ways, different charting ways to do the same thing, this cognitive behavioral therapy. And so you can see that in the next time that I go around and do something, the more I learn these cognitive behavioral, or these cognitive distortions, any type of thought that comes up in my head, I can go, oh, that's magnification. Oh, I'm catastrophizing. And so you can start to label those things, and then your thoughts have less impact on you. You become more you, more authentic, more present in your life. Your relationships improve, and we are pack animals. Relationships improving is everything to us.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Okay, and I'm actually done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Send your people to me, please.
That was awesome.
Thank you.